Welcome back. Mr. Pascal Odigwe joins us right here in our Lagos studio. He's a business and financial consultant. It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you.
I imagine that you've been just going through everything happening in the country, from the labor side, from the government side, particularly the average Nigerian. I mean, we could say the vulnerable people who have been hit the hardest. And I wonder, how are you internalizing all of this?
Thank you, and good to be back to channels. I think the issue is a challenge to everybody, top to bottom. But most importantly, those at the bottom are feeling the heat so much. And I think that the government that is presently in charge needs to become a little more strategic. A little more strategic. And let me take a small swipe on the president. You know, he's able to identify skilled, smart people. He built Lagos. I mean, the campaign trail was that he was going to phase out subsidy, which, by the way, had to go. But I'm quite concerned about what quality of conversation is happening, the rigor of thought that is happening before policies are released. What they have done is to put this government on a damage control mode now. So they're getting reactionary. And that is a dangerous thing for any government. And the people. See, if the government doesn't succeed, it affects the people. So what they're doing on the regular basis now is, okay, how do we resolve this? When people raise up their mind, okay, how do we resolve this? You're firefighting. They need to take on the narrative again. All those, and permit me to call their names, all those Wale Dunes, all those people that are his core team, get back to the drawing board and think. Governance. You don't need to grab the headlines and then people are not seeing any solutions. What is going on is a clear indication that some of the policies are populist. And when you go populist, in other words, as we seem to be doing something, you're going to get reactionary positions. And my thinking here is that though subsidy needs to go, I watched him through his campaign. This was supposed to be phased. However you kill a cow, the cow is going to be dead. So it doesn't matter whether it's going to be phased or not, but you need to have thought through what you're going to do. And by the way, I don't like the word palliatives. I just don't like it. Nigerians are not beggars.
Is it because you don't have a need for palliatives?
No, not because of that. Because palliatives is short-term. I'm a leadership consultant. I run Jeff and O'Brien. And what we do is this, and I tell people who come to my class, I hate to hear the word low-hanging fruits. Because the moment you concentrate on the low-hanging fruits, you lose sight on long-term. What is the tree going to produce in another 6, 7, 8 months? The palliatives are 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And you create a sleaze fund. Really, anytime you throw money at problems, it will swallow it.
This is very interesting because the guests we had earlier, they looked at the speech, Dr. Faponda and Professor Harmu, they looked at the speech, broke it down. And for Dr. Faponda, for example, he said, some of these things are long term. They won't happen up until at least a year. He talked about the agricultural angle to this. And he's like, a lot of people need help right now. And I imagine you would agree with him on that. And they were more particular about how this will be sequenced and done in a swift manner. The expression is hit the ground running. But for you, you don't like palliatives, you don't like low-hanging fruit. Some will say maybe because your hand can reach the fruits that are hanging really high. But for the majority of Nigerians, millions of Nigerians who are poor, they need something as at yesterday. So don't you think that's a bit elitist? Yes, you probably don't like what do you call it, populist policies, but you have to be also realistic.
Claudia, let's look at the past experience. We had a Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs. She comes on television, tells you that there's nobody thinks that did not receive a handout. The vice president of the past administration was doing trader money. Tell me somebody that you know that got the money. Apart from the things they say on television.
Would that be fair to expose them on television?
No, but the point I'm saying is this. Tell me somebody you know, I know. Maybe after you can tell me that your cousin, your brother, your father got this resource, this money.
Well,
when you do such things, you create a sleaze fund. You will enmesh the place with people trying to grab. There are things you can do, and I want to say them here. Critical things you can do. There are three sectors that government has given over the years, are giving Nigerian subsidy. One is electricity. Two is PMS. The third is FX. They've removed two. They will remove the other one. They only held back.
Are you talking about electricity?
Yes. They only held back because of the pushback. The point I'm making is this. You knew, and everybody knows Tinubu had to be a bullish leader. You want to do those kind of hard things, and that's what leaders are known to do. My concern is those your strategies that are around you. What did they bring on the table for you to say, okay, when you do this, these are the intended consequences. This will be the unintended consequences. Then you said, these are the things you're supposed to begin to do.
To be fair, the president's speech, he moved away from the talk about palliative. Is it 8,000 naira to the vulnerable?
That's the point I'm making.
He literally spoke to, the 75 billion for major companies. He talked about agriculture. He talked about CNG for even small businesses that will get some sort of, loans or grants across the local government. So there wasn't that talk about palliatives. Perhaps the government has learned, because at first it was meant to be 8,000 naira from what we got from the National Assembly. But I think there was a lot of hue and outcry. But I'd like you to speak to what the president said in that speech. And he said particularly that he wishes there were other ways to go about this. And he categorically said that there is none. That if there were, he would have taken that route. Do you agree with the president on that?
I don't agree with him. I can only agree to the extent that this is something that you needed to do. Where I disagree with him is how. You know what to do, you know how to do, then you must know why you're doing what you're doing. One of the things politicians don't get is that I don't think they love the people. And that love
is that fair to say?
No, it's very fair. I can tell you I've been here.
For all of them?
I've been around. No, not all of them.
Okay.
I've been around. I can tell you. How will you release 500 billion and then you give 70 billion to the National Assembly? And are they looking for palliatives?
Well,
what are you talking about?
You said you don't like the word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are they looking for? Why will you give to the judiciary? Let us assume I now like palliatives. You give them. You give us 500 billion, you give Nigeria 500 billion. Then you took 35 billion to the judiciary, 70 billion to the National Assembly, that you could have done in a normal process of appropriation. Why will you put them in the so-called palliative? So the point I'm making is government should go strategic. And these are the things they should do. Yesterday, or maybe today, I don't even know when they're going to. NNPC is going to commission an independent power project in Gwagwalada. And kudos to them. They should replicate that in the 6 geopolitical zones. And with a mind to put it in all the state capitals, go for the things Nigerians are going to buy and create alternatives. That's one. 2, tell Nigerians, and this is where labor comes in. Labor needs to also to be strategic. They should stop asking for, things that the government can quickly do. Tell the government to tell you what they want to do with the refineries. There are 3 of them, Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna. Port Harcourt and Warri, I hear very reliable sources, should be on board by the end of this year or first quarter of 2025.
Well, the president said that.
2024. Now, my concern is we've been hearing about Dangote. So Nigerians don't trust leadership anymore. So government, Tinubu must come and say, hold me responsible. These refineries are going to work by March 2025. So Labour can hold something. Do you know why it is important? I believe in PPP. I believe that it's a private sector driven individual. Government has allowed individual institutions to bring in petrol and all that. Dangote is even bringing petrol in spite of his capacity to produce. If you have these refineries, they will serve as a check. Because the price of crude all over the world is the same. What people pay for is logistics, shipping, demurrage, all those kind of things. So the point I'm making is, if you produce at home here, you will knock off the cost of, at least the cost of logistics. at least offshore logistics. Then you just deal with the pipelines and all. So I am of the opinion that government should do things that Nigerians will pick up their pieces all over. The vulcanizer will work, the barber will work, without going to the filling station to buy petrol to put in his generator. That's the point I'm making. There should be some strategy, some thought, some rigor of thought must occur at the leadership level in governance. By the way, government should not go to Niger. They didn't fight you. Don't go and spend the limited resources you have on something that is for ECOWAS.
Okay, that's a bit tangential, but maybe we'll go ahead.
Well, all of that seems
to be, anyway.
All of that seems to me, Mr. Digo, to be in the long term, whether it's the 75 billion naira for the manufacturing sector or the intervention funds also for the MSMEs, they seem to be in the long term. But the impact of the removal of fuel subsidies happening now every day, labor is feeling it and the informal sector is feeling it, and the vulnerable, they're feeling it. So there is no guarantee also that the palliatives that will be released, we don't know when, across the federation, will stop any impending increase in the price of fuel because of the current realities of the price of international crude and the floating of the naira. So it seems like we're in dire straits. In the light of the circumstances, what options are open to labor?
Let me, okay, maybe I was going to answer what is options that are open to us. The moment this happens, a lot of people, private sector people, have adjusted what they pay their staff. We've done so, even though we're not in the news. I'm sure you heard it about Zenith doing the same, and government even mentioned, the president even mentioned it.
Commended
it. So what's wrong with you doing it as a government? What's the problem? Oh, inflation, right?
Well, the president actually spoke about doing a wage review that is coming.
Because the effect is happening every day. That's what is called increased cost of living allowance. It's anchored on the percentage of inflation. That's the little thing you just do. What is the percentage of inflation now? 20%. Increase people's salary by 25%, at least for now. I know that will throw money into the hands of people, but they will be able to deal with basic issues. These people, I went to barb my hair somewhere. The man who came to barb me was striking. He came in sweating. He said, "No, I like to take it." Yeah, later he said, "Okay, I don't have the money to pay." That's the point I'm making. So we need to be a lot innovative and stop with the planning is good for the long term. But the ones you need to do quick now, just do it.
But that's another area of concern. Even though if there's an increase tomorrow, the realities remain the same. They're still going to buy, goods and services, purchase goods and services at the, skyrocketing rate. But then again, how can labor hold state governments to account with that if there's an increase in minimum wage tomorrow, because the 30,000 naira minimum wage is still not being implemented across board in all the 36 states of the federation?
I thank you for your question and I appreciate it. And that was why my dear friend said what I said about the Niger thing was it's not off tangent, nothing. You need to link it. The goals you are seeing in Africa is as a result of lack of good governance. The politicians need to know that their job is on the line. They need to be aware. Nigerians are wiser now. And the groundswell is coming. They need to love the people and use the resources to take care of the people. And this may sound like a pitch, but the truth is that they will remember what I'm saying now. They need to stop stealing the money of the coffers of the people and use it for Nigerians. Because if anybody rises tomorrow and says, we want to remove government, the people are the ones that will defend you. The people are not rising to so labor should demand for good governance. Labor need to hire some strategists. Because you're a labor man does not mean you're a strategist. Find people that will discuss and negotiate with this government. Take their manifestos and say, these are the things you promised. We will come back in 1 year. I think the strike was too early. Give the man time. Understand
the strike or the protest?
Study the process, Yes, put him.
But hunger is not waiting.
Just as I said, they put themselves in a cul-de-sac, a hard place. So Labour was forced to do it. They didn't need to be insisting in less than 100 days in the office.
But the only
they didn't need that was unnecessary.
Is there a rule as to when or how it should take to
because
go on
you
strike?
need time to plan. You need to organize. If people trust you, they'll say, okay, it's coming. It's coming. If your wife is cooking and you're hungry in the parlor, you'll be smelling the food now. But if the woman is eating inside and drinking water, you say it's coming, it's coming. After some time, you go to the kitchen and say, what's going on here? So the point I'm making here is that...
Pardon me, you say Labour needs to hire strategists.
Yes.
The strategists that Labour has are the state chairman of the NLCs and TUCs at the state level. The concern is that they are beholden to the state governors. Can they pull their weight?
That is the point I'm making. They should understand that the people, their responsibility is to get those who are holding the levers of power to own up and execute their projects. It is those things, if these things I'm talking about are done, a typical Nigerian will be able to. Nigerians I travel around the world. Nigerians are able to have a can-do spirit. Let there be basic things. Nigerians can fend for themselves. Look at these channels. Use your channels as an example. I've been coming here for many years. I mean, when you were somewhere in Maryland, look at you today here. That's the spirit of Nigerians. It flows from top to bottom. So you give the Nigerians the basic things, they will take care of themselves. They don't like to. We're not beggars. What we're asking is that you do key critical things, and they can take their feeding from there. They can take their lives from there.
It's not rocket science.
It is no. That's why I'm holding the strategies around Tinubu responsible. If you cannot hold Tinubu responsible because he's not a president, those people that are around him, they should not become politicians.
Well, the box
their job
stops
is to keep making sure that the president is on this small and narrow path.
At the end of the day, the buck stops at this table, so yes, he'll be held responsible as well. But thank you so much.
Don't pity me.
Oh yes, because he sought the job. Mr. Pascal Odibo is a business and financial consultant. Thank you so much for the passion and for your time on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.